Off the mark, Richard, how pleased were you with the improvement from the previous week last week?
Really pleased. I thought the improvements in our overall performance were a marked one. I think at this stage we know it wasn't perfect, and nor did we expect it to be. We didn't expect to go from a performance like we had at Bradford to what we know we can achieve. But I thought it was a great turnaround. Got some good efforts in the right areas this week, which I thought set a platform for us to have a fairly commanding performance over probably 80% of the game.
Got a couple of your key players back in the halves, Tim Smith, and in the pack, Andy Raleigh. How much of a difference did they make?
They made a difference, but I think it's wrong to just put it all down to those two players. We know what we get with Andy, and he's a very, very consistent and reliable performer. And of course, we know how important Timmy is to our team, but it's probably a tribute to the guys up front. Probably not very often do we publicly criticise our own players, but we felt the guys that played up front against Bradford were so far short of the mark. We talked about it, and we did put a lot of the responsibility firmly and squarely at their feet. So I think for those guys, Justin Port, Ali, Kyle Amor, Danny Kerman, Danny Washbrook in particular, I thought they really turned around their performance in the middle of the park, which it made people like Timmy Smith's job a whole lot easier.
How did you come out of the game injury-wise? I know Carl took quite a hit, didn't he?
Yeah, he got a knock on the head, but he was all right. He passed his head test early in the week, so he's had a full week's training. And we come through relatively unscathed, which were another pleasing factor. We come out of it knowing that it was a good turnaround, his attitude were right, but there's still things in there that we know we're going to get a little bit better. But I think what we would say is, when the effort's right and the endeavour's right, that does sometimes cover up when maybe some of the technicalities aren't there, and if we can sort of keep replicating those sorts of effort, then it'll give us a greater opportunity to fix the other things up.
Big hits, or big illegal hits to be more accurate, have sort of been the topic of the week. Do you feel that your skilled players are protected enough with the rules and the punishments that are in place at the moment, Richard?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think if we're talking about shoulder barges and stuff like that, I'm not too concerned. I think if players want to go for a big tackle, that's fine, as long as it's timed right and it's hitting the right areas. Hopefully, there's no contact with the head. I think if there is, then it's up to the judiciary to deal with it in the correct and fit manner. And I think everybody likes the fact that it's a physical game, and people occasionally like to see big hits. So as long as they're in the right manner, and anything that strays onto the illegal side of things, then it's taken care of in the right people. This is a game that you can get hurt in a lot of different ways, and it's right, we have got a duty of care to protect the players, but at the same time I think we've got to tread that balance between trying to rub some of that stuff out of the game and recognising that it's a gladiatorial sport, if you like, and players play it for that reason, and fans like watching it for that reason.
How do you assess London, and has last year's trip been talked about at all or not?
Privately, one or two have mentioned it to me, and we're aware of one or two things that we might change. It were an evening kick-off where this is an afternoon one, and I think we train down there, so we're going to train up here and try and change one or two things up. But we're more going to put the focus on ourselves and just making sure that our attitude's right. I think me banging on all week saying make sure that your attitude's right, make sure that your attitude's right, is not what's required. I think we need to show the right level of aptitude in training and train with the right intensity, and I think we've been able to do that based on the strides we had this week, and the fact that the boys are really happy and confident that we got back to playing a little bit something more like we know we can. So we're very guarded a bit against what might come this weekend. Despite their scores, I think London themselves were probably feeling that they're not too far away, and that there were enough in both their games to suggest there's a team in there. There's a team in there waiting. Not far away off getting its first win. So we need to be guarded again. That it is a tough place to go for different reasons. Apart from the fact the qualities that London possesses aside, there's little bits of travel and the journey in there and things like that. So we'll prepare. We'll prepare well and hopefully look after ourselves and make sure that our attitude is very close to what we got last week.
We're only 2 rounds in, but there's only 2 teams with 100% records. Is that almost an early indicator of how competitive the season's going to be this year?
I think we say this every year, don't we? I'm not too sure. I think where we all set out 2 weeks ago, as we know, people make pre-season predictions, and then after round 1 they probably get changed again and changed again in round 2. I think where we all set out of 2 weeks ago, everybody will still be in that frame of mind. You know, some people will have had defeats they didn't expected. Some people will have won games probably a little bit more comfortable. But I think where we all started 2 weeks ago, you know, we're not too diverted by what's happened in the first couple of rounds. And we're the same. You know, we're the same. We're just looking to improve week on week and be that consistent team that, you know, given a platform, can play a little bit of good football.
Yeah, what's the team news? So you've been through this, which is, I guess, Carl is just going to have a test before.
No, he's fine.
Is he all right?
He's fine. The changes to the squad, I don't think there's too many changes to the squad. We've got to put it out there tomorrow, and at this point we're running with the same 19.
And the forwards, obviously improved last week for you. You sense there's more improvements coming from them. Set a bit of a standard last.
Yeah, it weren't perfect. It was a massive improvement, but there was still plenty in there that we know we can get a lot better, and we've got to keep working really hard towards that, and we will, and we will. But like I say, we thought for 80% of the game, we were pretty where we needed to be. Still things we can improve in the ruck, but I said it post game last week. Sometimes when we get it wrong, we get it horribly wrong, and we felt we conceded tries that, ordinarily on another day we'd like to think we'd stop, but that's all part of the journey for us and learning along the way. So hopefully we've set the standard and the stall out for what's required, particularly in the middle of that park. We know that offensively, once the pitches firm up a bit and once we get a little bit more fluency and everybody playing a little bit more consistently, we're confident that'll come and take care of itself.
I know you had a bad result down there last year, but I think the last 3 years, obviously you were there for the other two. Wakefield have been beat down there. Is that down to a bit of the travelling and the difference in staying over?
I can't speak on behalf of that. Being travelling and staying over and sometimes managing time is part and parcel of what we do for a living. Some people handle it better than others. Some are very much creatures of habit, like their own bed and all that sort of thing. But we've just got to handle that, and it's not going to be an issue for us this week. The past record of Wakefield, I can't talk too much about. I know we had a disappointing performance down there, and I know that'll still be in the minds of a number of our players.
I think we touched on it after the game last week, but the team warning thing, what do you make of that? Because I guess it can be, as there was last week, a bit of confusion over how long it actually runs for.
Oh yeah, there was some confusion. It's a good signal. I really like the referee's signal to acknowledge what's going on. I think in that case, it's not a new phenomenon. Teams have been getting warned for a long time. It's just that now it's done it's done on the run, and it's done with a signal from the referee. And maybe we were on borderline that maybe our warning might have been off at that time, and I'm not too sure the tackle strayed into anything too much. But Steve had done it for one team, and I think he felt that he put us on a warning, and that extra penalty tipped him over the edge, so to speak. And there was some confusion from us at half time. We thought the warning were off. And Steve actually said that to us, but he sort of got mixed up. There was a personnel issue in there and got himself a little bit confused. But we managed it. We managed it okay. We had a couple of tries in, but I thought energy-wise, the boys worked really hard during that period.
Did you? Oh, sorry, pick on. No, I was going to say one last question. Are you still looking to add any more players to the squad at all?
No, not at this moment. No, not at this moment. We're okay with our squad at the moment.
Carl Trout on the move somewhere?
He'll dual reg with Doncaster this weekend.
Right.
That's it, really.
There's nothing new in that then?
No, I mean, we're in a... Why has he been linked somewhere, has he?
No, I just...
Oh. No, he's going to play with Doncaster this weekend. I mean, the dual reg is, that's causing a bit of concern for me at the moment, because we have got a number of players that haven't had a lot of football over the last month, and I'm struggling to get them that. Doncaster have got 3 of our players, and they'll take Trouty this week, but it still leaves me, 2 or 3 guys that I could really do with playing, and I'm very. I'm very sympathetic or understanding of Doncaster's situation and the amount of dual reg players that they take and that their spots are filled. But we know reserve grade side, we've got nowhere to play some of our guys. I've just got a concern that maybe it's keeping too many players off the park on a weekend, whether that be Super League players or players that drop down and filtering down into the Championship as well. I think we need to be finding avenues for these guys to play, because it's not very easy to manage at this moment. Maybe it'll change as the season wears on and teams pick up injuries and teams look to bolster the squads dependent on the league position and things like that, but it's frustratingly difficult to manage at the moment. But we'll give it some time and see if it works out a little bit better moving forward.
I just asked because I wasn't sure if he'd been mentioned as someone that would be going to Doncaster before as well.
Yeah, no, he's going to go this weekend. Yeah, we're looking for Trouty to play, yeah.